Howdy everyone, and welcome back to The More You Grow. It's another beautiful day outside today, so I thought I'd bring you all along for another project. Today I'm going to show you how you can set up your very own mealworm farm. I've been raising mealworms for many years now for multiple reasons. So in this video I'm going to go over some of the reasons why you'd want to raise mealworms, what you can do with them, and I'm going to show you how you can set up your very own mealworm farm where you can raise countless yourself. So let's go check it out. First off, let's take a look at what are mealworms and why in the world would you want to make a mealworm farm? Mealworms are the larval stage of a beetle called the darkling beetle. So they're not actually worms at all. They have legs, all that good stuff. They're actually just the larval stage. As they hatch out of the egg, they start off much smaller than the one you see here, and they shed their skin multiple times. After eating and shedding a few times, they enter into a pupal stage, as you see here in the middle. This is like the cocoon with butterflies and caterpillars. And eventually it becomes the adult beetle here. And the cycle will continue. The beetles will mate, lay eggs, and hatch out more mealworms. So now that we've gone over what mealworms are, let's talk about a few reasons why you'd want to raise your own at home. If you have animals such as chickens or fish in fish ponds, or pets such as pet fish, birds, you've got your reptiles, amphibians, there's insectivorous pets such as sugar gliders. If you have any of those, mealworms are excellent sources of nutrients such as protein, good fats, and they're just great for your pets. And my chickens absolutely love them. It looks like I threw Snicker bars into like a daycare playroom. They dogpile on those and go nuts. And speaking of pets, those that have pets that eat insects, I'm sure you've bought mealworms at the pet store before. And they cost a little bit of money, and there's no need to pay money for mealworms like that. They're so cheap and easy to raise. I can raise hundreds of mealworms for just a few dollars a month, and so why would I go pay even $3, $4, $5 for a small container of mealworms? There's no need in that. Another major benefit of raising your own mealworms are mealworm castings, kind of like earthworm castings. These are an excellent source of nutrients for your plants. And one thing I love about mealworm castings is it's not a blend, it's not a mix of things and different ingredients and sources and all that good stuff. This is just a simple, organic, all-natural fertilizer, and I've heard different ratios of nutrients where something like maybe a 4-3-2 NPK mix, but this is a wonderful natural fertilizer for both your indoor and outdoor plants when used correctly. Another good reason why you could raise mealworms, it's kind of funny, but they could be easy pets if you have kids. They're an excellent way of teaching life cycles of insects if you're a teacher, and they're very easy to raise, very low maintenance, and not really much trouble at all. So now that we've gone over a few reasons why you'd want to raise your own mealworms, let's talk about how you can set up your own mealworm farm and everything you need. The first thing that we need to go over to start your mealworm farm is what are you going to start your mealworm farm in? There's a lot of different things you can use. I happen to have a 10-gallon fish tank back here that I happen to have laying around, and these work excellent because they're easy to move if you need to move them. They're easy to clean out if you need to clean it out. They come with these nice lids on them usually, where you really don't have to worry about your mealworms getting out. They don't crawl out of the containers very well, but it keeps out things like flies and gnats if that were to become a thing. And another reason why I like to have a fish tank is because these are kind of weird pets for me. I like to watch them do their thing, and they're just kind of fun. So I like to have a clear container to watch them in. And other containers that you can use the clear storage containers that as long as you put good air holes in them, they'll work. There's a lot of different things you can use as long as you have good airflow. The next thing we're going to need is some bedding substrate for them to get into. Mealworms like to have something to crawl through, to hide in, and things like that. So we need to add something to the bottom of this tank. This is also going to double as their food source, and there's many different things you can use. You can use wheat bran, but sometimes it's a little bit harder to find in smaller quantities. You can use chicken crumbles. If you have chickens already, that will work. But what I'm going to use is something that just about anybody can find at their average store. I'm going to use some rolled oats. This is going to be a good source of carbohydrates, proteins for them, and they love these rolled oats. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a few tubs of these rolled oats here, and we're going to just fill the bottom of this container, and I'll show you what that looks like. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our rolled oats, or sometimes called quick oats. We're just going to open up the container here. see that don't blow away. I'm gonna open up the container here, and we're just gonna pour these in the bottom. And we don't need a whole lot. They don't need the whole container full, or the whole fish tank full. They just need a good layer to burrow down in. And this is gonna give them all the food they need, just about. And it's gonna give them something to bed down in and hide in. So for a fish tank like this, I might as well just throw the rest in. For a fish tank like this, a 10-gallon fish tank, 1 tub of these quick oats will work. And they're pretty inexpensive, so it's not like we're using a whole lot. So now that we got that, we need to kind of come in here and level that out a little bit. And just kind of flatten it out. I don't know why, aesthetic purposes, who knows. Now that we've got our bedding and main food source for our mealworms, let's talk about how to get water in your mealworm farm. If you were to just add water to this, it'd make a slimy, soupy mess that would just get moldy, and your mealworms would definitely not appreciate your poor skills at making oatmeal. But one of the ways you can get water to your mealworms is by fruits and vegetables. You can lay in slices of things like old apple or cucumbers. In this case, we're going to go with some potatoes that I have. You just take your potato or any other fruit or vegetable just about, and you can lay it cut side up in your mealworm tank, like so. And they're going to go to this, and this is where they're going to get their water. You'll see them slurping off of this. They're going to eat some, and as it dries out, they may eat a little bit. I like to change them out if they don't decide to eat it after a while, just so it doesn't get moldy or messy in there. So I'm just going to take these potatoes I've got here, take them in big slices like this, and I'm just going to lay them in different places. So let's talk about conditions that your mealworms need for optimal growth and production. As I've said before, mealworms are super easy to take care of and very low maintenance, but there are a few conditions we need to meet for optimal growth and production in your mealworm farm. The first thing we need to talk about is temperatures. Temperatures around 75, 80 degrees is optimal for your mealworms. I like to say around 80 degrees, and they're going to be on the warmer side. That's going to make them a little bit more active and productive. They're going to grow a little bit faster. The next thing we need to talk about is lighting situation. They do not like direct light at all. They're going to hide from that if possible, and they're not going to like it. So I like to say low light situations are best. Your mealworms are going to bury up in your oats or whatever substrate you use. But one thing I like to do for the beetles is I like to take a little bit of newspaper and crumple it up a little bit and just kind of get nooks and crannies in there. I like to take this and lay this down pretty flat over on one side of the tank. And what this is going to do is this is going to kind of give them a little bit of a cave that they can get into. The beetles and worms, they're going to hide in this, and they're going to get out of the light. So I like to add that in there. They'll also use this for their eggs. They'll lay their eggs on this. They'll eat some of this newspaper. So it just adds a little bit of habitat for them. Okay guys, we've got everything ready now. We've got our container, which is our fish tank, our food / bedding, which is our quick oats here, and a water source, which is our potatoes here in this case. So now all we need to do is we need to add our mealworms. And I've got a nice bucket of mealworms, beetles, every stage that I could get. So that way I don't have just giant spurts of all beetles, all worms, and stuff like that. For setting up your first tank, what you can do is you can go to your pet store and they will have mealworms for sale as pet feed. You can buy a container of those and get started, or you can buy some online if you don't have a pet store around where you live. So the moment of truth, guys, we're going to dump these in and watch them go. So here we go. Oh my goodness, look at all that. They're going to eat through that in no time. Well, there you have it, folks. That's how you set up your very own mealworm farm. We talked about how to set up your tank, the benefits of mealworms, and how you can use them. So if you want to have a good source of food for your animals, a source of fertilizer for your plants, and all for next to nothing, start yourself a mealworm farm. If you like this video, be sure to hit that like button. If you have any more questions for me about raising mealworms or any suggestions for future videos, leave those down in the comments. And if you haven't done so yet, be sure to subscribe to the channel, hit that bell icon for notifications, and go check us out on Facebook and Instagram. And until next time, I hope you'll join me right here on The More You Grow.